Take a walk through almost any major city on Earth, and you will share the pavement with a massive population of adult pigeons. They blanket our parks, line our monuments, and swarm the sidewalk for a dropped piece of bread. Because cities offer a relatively mild climate and an absolute abundance of scavenged food, these birds don't have to wait for spring. They breed continuously, producing new generations of offspring throughout the entire year. But that creates a massive everyday paradox. When ducks or swans breed, you see trails of fluffy chicks following close behind. Yet with millions of pigeons living side by side with humans, no one ever seems to spot a baby pigeon. It raises a surprisingly difficult question. With an urban population breeding year-round, are all of their offspring somehow physically hidden from us, or are they walking right past us in plain sight, while our brains fail to recognize them? The absence of baby pigeons isn't an illusion. It's the outcome of a process that starts in the hidden corners of the skyline and concludes with a physical overhaul that happens entirely before the bird ever reaches the street. To understand how they hide, we have to look at the feral pigeon's wild ancestor, the rock dove. To evade ground predators, rock doves evolved to nest in inaccessible locations, specifically on narrow ledges of steep, rocky ocean cliffs. When humans began building metropolises out of stone and concrete, we inadvertently built the pigeon's perfect habitat. To their brains, a modern city skyline is simply an endless mountain range of artificial cliffs. Instead of building exposed nests in tree branches, pigeons seek out the highest, most inaccessible architectural features they can find. They tuck themselves into deep cornices, abandoned attics, bridge underpasses, and towering ledges. Once they find a secure spot, the parents become fiercely protective. They construct flimsy nests out of urban debris, like wire and grass, which blend in with the concrete and city grime, rendering the nesting site nearly invisible to anyone looking up from the street. Human architecture has effectively handed the pigeon an elevated, impenetrable fortress. By mirroring their wild ancestors, they have entirely removed their vulnerable nesting phase from the human line of sight. Inside that elevated fortress, the newborn pigeon, known as a squab, looks nothing like an adult bird. They hatch completely blind, entirely helpless, and covered only in sparse patches of fuzzy yellow down. Because of this helpless biological state, a condition scientists call altricial development, the squab is physically incapable of leaving the nest. They are confined to their hidden ledge for a full 4 to 6 weeks. To survive that long confinement, they rely on a unique biological fuel. This animated cross-section shows the internal anatomy of an adult pigeon producing crop milk, a highly nutritious substance fed to their young. This chart plots the effect of that rich diet over a 6-week timeline. Fueled by crop milk, the squab undergoes a massive spike in body mass, growing at a rate vastly outpacing a standard songbird. Over that same 6 weeks, the visual transformation is total. As they grow to full size, they shed that sparse yellow fuzz entirely, replacing it with a thick coat of dull adult feathers. The hidden nest acts as an incubator for a biological speedrun. By the time that 4 to 6 week window closes, the vulnerable childhood phase is complete, safely finished out of view. Eventually, the juvenile pigeon has to leave its architectural fortress. It steps off the ledge, fledges from the nest, and drops down to join the flock on the city streets below. Because of that extended development time and the nutrient-dense crop milk diet, the fledgling is already the exact same size and shape as its parents the moment it touches the pavement. At this point, our own cognitive bias creates a blind spot. When humans look for baby birds, we're biologically conditioned to search for tiny, vocal, fluffy chicks. The fledged pigeon possesses none of those juvenile features. It has no oversized head, no stubby tail, and no fluffy down. Because it looks like a fully formed bird, our brains categorize it as an adult and move on. The next time you walk past a flock, look closely at the individuals. You'll likely spot a few quiet birds with slightly duller, matte gray feathers blending into the group. You are looking at a freshly fledged teenager.